energy in our system. What we want to have happen is that the vagus nerve allows us to recover fully from that. And that's part of its role. So it helps us cope with and recover from stress. So let's say we're driving along, somebody starts yelling at us from the side, blasts the horn, cuts us off, and we feel that adrenaline rush. It's like, oh, and then we're quite shaky. And then slowly over time, we feel ourselves go back to regulation. So no real challenge with our nervous system. But let's say it's going back to the person who experienced a divorce and all of those things that happened. If the vagus nerve doesn't get to come in and slow our physiology back down, our nervous system can stay with that mobilizing sympathetic energy there. So we feel anxious, we can't sleep, we have digestive issues. This can go on for months for people, years for people. Now, if it was in the time of a traumatic like stressor, so we've looked so far at an acute stressor and more of a chronic stressor, but let's say it was a traumatic stressor, we would still have the vagus nerve release. We would have that mobilizing sympathetic energy, but we would also see a release of immobilizing energy at the same time. So it's a little bit like the gas or the accelerator is down as far as it can go, and we've pulled on the handbrake as well. So until we get that completion of that activation, people can continue to mobilize both. So they feel themselves panic, then they shut down. They panic, then they shut down. And then they freeze when they're both released. And that's what I was talking about with people who might need to connect more to their exteroceptors or the environment and learn to send some signals of safety first of all. They need lots of co-regulation in order to help their nervous system begin to complete that stress activation cycle. But essentially, if somebody has had that experience at an early age, that can continue for years to come. And this is again where it's not time that leads to the recovery, it's experience. So that there's not this prediction that I need to keep mobilizing or immobilizing in this way.
Yeah, and being stuck in that cycle. Yeah. Do you have a little guided practice that kind of helps us orient to this exteroceptive, that external safety? If you
Of
do,
course.
yeah?
Yes, for sure. I think this would be a really lovely one to use as a way to help people tune into their bodies. So, yes, would you like me to walk people through it?
I would love that.
Okay. So, one of the ways that we can help to send those cues of safety can be through, as I said, what we see, what we hear, and the way that we're meeting our environment. For this particular practice, we can leave off smell and we can leave off taste because it's a more challenging one. But if we were to begin by starting to notice what was in our environment, we can begin to look and think, well, even though I've seen this room 100 times, what can I see that is neutral or pleasant? And there's no fear that comes with that. So we might just look slowly around, and it's good if we can get our head to turn quite a bit over our shoulder if that's comfortable, and then coming back. And so as we turn our head, we are actually bringing in another cranial nerve that the vagus connects to. So it's a way that we can help to shift out of a dysregulated state. We're sending the messages through our visual system, but we're also using movement and turning our head to engage the vagus. And then as we look and we take in those cues, we can also notice sounds in our environment. So we might think, oh, I can hear something in the distance, or I can hear something close in. As long as it's neutral or pleasant, we're connecting to that. So the eyes are taking in signals. We're looking for safety. We're sending messages to the survival brain that things are okay, and listening to the sounds. And then as we continue to look and notice the sounds, we can also notice the way that our body is touching our chair. Now, if we were more activated or in the sympathetic nervous system state, we might just see if the chair could support a little bit more of our body weight. So that feeling of, oh, I can be supported. And we can tune into steadiness, support, the feeling of being held. But if we're more immobilized and we feel a bit flat, disconnected from our body or shut down, we might just gently press the backs of our legs into the chair, activating our hamstrings to help us connect to the body. So we're noticing sight and sound, feeling the backs of the legs on the chair. And you might notice some signs of regulation. So my tummy has started gurgling very loudly. But it could be that your breath becomes full or the body starts to let go of any tension or activation, or you feel more focused and present and clear. So just finishing off with the last one to one side and then coming back to the center.
That was lovely.